That's right, Blake Cousins here, broadcasting live, taking your calls from around the world. But I want to be showing you a video coming out of Austria right now. I just sent you the link, and basically it's showing a unique sighting. It took place in Graz and Austria, where two separate YouTubers filmed what are believed to be some unknown objects, which both display some truly remarkable characteristics. Well, the first video depicts two UFOs that appear to join together at one point, seemingly comprised of multiple smaller orbs. Now, the light given off is bright white-orange in color, which the object vanishes into thin mid-air. Through the footage, there are amazing characteristics of flight. Are these drones, or is this some kind of conventional aircraft, or are these strange orbs, energy forms, UFOs, doing an amazing display in the sky? Surprisingly enough, the fact that the very same objects were filmed the same day in Graz by another YouTuber. So this makes two sightings. In both instances, they appear to adhere to a 2x2 formation, basically two objects comprised of two orbs. What's interesting is that, again, these were captured in two different locations. So I believe these two videos are genuine. I want to get your opinion. I'm going to be sending the link below so everybody could take a look at this. I want to get your opinions of what we're looking at here. Again, is this some kind of drone display or something out of this world? We're going to be taking your calls from around the world. So the number to call in, we want to hear a good UFO story. We're going to let the video roll, but we're going to get to the callers. And if you've got something you want to share, the number is 347-934-0378. Let's get to it. Let's bring in the callers. I want to get first-time callers are always good. Stories we've never heard before. I always like that. And welcome to the show. 925, you made it. How you doing tonight?
925, I'm back.
Yeah, you're on, man. You're on. You made it to the show.
Blake, I don't know if you remember me calling in. Like maybe it's been about a year, but I just told you I'm from 925. I didn't want to disclose my location.
Oh, no problem. No problem.
I'm here in the Bay Area, Northern Bay Area, San Francisco, that area.
Okay.
And, man, I have a few stories to tell you. Oh, man, dude, like, it gets me excited just trying to get it out, dude. Just telling the story every time it gives me, like, I'm on energy, you know? So where do I start? The latest one is I was on my mountain bike, and I usually use my mountain bike to commute to one of my jobs. And I kind of, like, throw in a little, like, little exercise in there, you know, just train a little bit. And I had my mountain bike, and I went to the top of this ridge. And it's not really big of a ridge. It's only like 36 feet on the GPS. And I went to the top of this little ridge, and I see this black flying like catfish. And I know no one believes me, but man, it looked like a catfish. I automatically thought it was government. I looked at it and I was like, that's what they got. That's our stuff now. And I was like in shock. And I didn't even pull out my cell phone or anything. I just wanted to look at it. So it was in the daytime. That's the thing. The trippiest thing is in the daytime. And I was looking at it. It looked like a catfish flying, and it had whiskers, long whiskers that face down. And they're not whiskers, but from just looking at it, I can see it. Maybe they're like antennas. And instead of facing up like we're used to antennas facing up, this was facing down, like down of the craft, pointing down. And I was like, oh man, like, and it moved, but it moved fast, but it didn't move fast. I don't know how to explain that either. Like it traveled distance, but it did it like smooth, clean, no noise. And they made me look at it. I mean, I was lucky to be able to see it in the daytime. And I was thinking I wanted to see one in the daytime for a long time, because I think I see, occasionally maybe I might see one at night, but that's a whole other conversation at nighttime and what things come out at night. But looking at it, I knew it was stealth. It was black. It had it looked like a catfish, which catfish, maybe like a plecostomus. It looked like a plecostomus, you know, the sucker fishes that are inside fish tanks, but flying in the sky, pretty big, like the size of a helicopter, quiet. And I put it together. I've been thinking about it. Maybe that's something that they use to, you know, break into people's Wi-Fi, and this is like one of their night crafts. Maybe it's something like a reconnaissance spy plane. And for it to be silent and all that, have everything, all of it together was just one creepy experience. And I mean, I even told some labor, like there were people working construction on that ridge, and I even went up to them and I was like, "Did you guys see that?" No, and they were like, "No." And I was like, "Man," like, and I explained it to them, and I left. I thought that was the best way to keep it in my memory, just trying to tell who I could see right away, and just ever since then, it's been ingrained in my mind, just of that moment and everything I experienced.
Well, that's strange because our military, they like to mimic Mother Nature. Insects, they figure out how aircraft work by basically reverse engineering insects, birds, and seeing on how their flight characteristics operate. And now you're kind of describing an organic kind of UFO, a catfish looking like UFO. I wonder if that's intentional, or are we looking at something maybe not military at all?
You're hitting it on there, like you said, in the past they've studied birds and try to mimic birds in the way they, you know, to make better crafts. So this was, I mean, it looked like a catfish, like black and, you know, like how a catfish kind of looks with the whiskers, but it was a plane. It had wings, it had a tail, and the tail was like, you know, like a catfish had that. Like the best thing to resemble it was a catfish, but it wasn't a catfish, you know, that would be preposterous, but it was a ship that was like beefy, looking like that. Like, and you can tell like it took some work to make that, in black. And
yeah, how big
do you
think this thing was?
Probably like the size of like a big helicopter, like the medical helicopters, like the double like probably like a big like medical helicopter like that, but all black. And you know, it kind of has that, you can kind of like taste it, you know, like I don't know how to explain it. You can taste it like it's like stealthy. You can feel it stealthy. It's man-made. It's not like an alien craft or anything. Like you could tell, like, and I'm in my past when I was young, I used to study planes all the time. Like I was forced to because I was like in air cadets. It wasn't anything special. It was kind of like a sidestep from like Boy Scouts. And I remember always, you know, just being fascinated with that. And I've always been interested in looking up in the sky and in the daytime getting that kind of view. Now, there's another story I can get on that happened 2 years ago, and with my wife, and we were driving, and it was one like you guys are explaining how, like a mothership would come and out pops up a bunch of UFOs in different areas, and then those little UFOs go around and start, you know. And we were driving, and we went onto the freeway on top of a gas station. There was like a big UFO, and this was like getting to dark. It wasn't dark yet, but it was almost getting to dark, but dark enough where you can't see like a black thing in the sky. And it had like 30 lights, 40 lights on it. And we were like, whoa, like what, that just looks so, like a Christmas tree on top, like all white lights on top of a gas station. And we were like, that seems kind of weird, you know? And we went to the other side of town, and we made our way back from where we were at. And we were driving down like this main street, and the UFOs were coming low, like these lights. They looked like planes, had the red and the blue, or the green and the blue, or I mean the green and the red, but they came below the lights. So like, you know, planes are supposed to be like 300-400 feet in the sky. These were like totally illegal, like going under like lights, like street lights, like down, like trying to get down to that level. And it almost seemed like they were teasing us, because like I was driving and we were noticing it, and I was like, get a good look at that to my wife. And we were stopped at like this main intersection by a mall, and it was coming down like down to the lights in the mall, like that low, these little drones, I guess you can call them, because my wife looked at it and she said she saw a triangle, like a mini triangle, not a TR-3B big boy, a little one. And I tripped out because I didn't explain this to her or tell her how how it looks like. And she told me it looked like a triangle, and it had like an imprint of a triangle inside a triangle and an imprint inside there. And she said it was like a mini triangle, silver, like a dark gray maybe. And that night we kept on seeing more of these crafts coming low, and putting it together like that mothership and those little planes. I don't know why I keep on thinking it's military, but I feel like that was like a display. It was that night was like here we go. This is our new stuff, and this is what we do, and this is how we can do it. It was almost like an airplane show, but for them, like just because they can, maybe just because they want to like show off their what they can do, you know, because I don't know. I can't, and no one. It almost seems like no one stops. No one like honks. I mean, it's just everyone's doing their thing. But we're like looking at all this happen and wondering why. Just like, how can this just go on without anyone calling a show? Like, I don't really hear many stories of like what I'm saying, like on the radio shows. And I'm like, someone needs to come out and just spill the beans like that. That I think we have some tech that is beyond, like they said, beyond anything that we're known. We're supposed to know only like a little bit, and there's like I categorize it like a black and a black, and a black is something that we're not supposed to know. That's like top secret, but there's like another division on top of that is like mainstream for them, but for us we don't even know.
Well, yeah, they're keeping us out of the loop, and they're holding it in their back pocket, close to the hip, basically. They don't want to let it out. They're not ready to give this information to us. Why? They got it for themselves. Who wants to share the cookie jar if they've got the power, basically? But we're going to have to break that cookie jar wide open and let it out. Everybody, stand by. We'll be back with more callers from Third Phase Moon. Thanks so much for calling. We got some area codes that I want to get to. Area code 603. Get ready, and area code 575. We'll be getting to you guys next. We'll be right back. Blake Cousins, taking your calls from around the world. We want to hear a good UFO story. Welcome back, everybody. Let's bring in the callers. Area code 603. I hope you got something that we haven't heard before. Hey, how's it going? Welcome to the show.
Good. How are you? My name is Victor. And I'm living up in New Hampshire, Manchester, New Hampshire.
All right, Victor. Hey, thanks for calling in, man. You got something you want to share? What's on your mind tonight?
I've been holding this info since I was a child, actually. I used to live in New York City in the South Bronx. And, of course, it's a concrete jungle. I lived in the projects, Millbrook Projects. Well, I lived up on the 8th floor, and I was, 10, 11. And, really, I was kind of a homeboy. My mother kept me under her thumb all the time. But when I got away, I used to be a little adventurer. I would go hang out and guess, abandoned buildings and go all the way up to the top and look at, at the city and look at the projects, take pictures and all kinds of stuff. But anyway, this one particular night, I think it was just 1980, 81, I was looking out my window. I lived on the 8th floor in the projects, and I could see this. I don't know. I thought it was a helicopter, but I couldn't hear any noises at all. It was a big spotlight shining down in a building I was just playing in a couple of hours ago, and I didn't think nothing of it. Sure enough, went to sleep, and I heard a bunch of guys arguing outside, screaming something kind of weird. What is that? What is that? And I guess, there was a lot of bottle smashing and stuff like that. Then I hear a small voice. I don't know if it was in my head or was it outside the window. It was kind of weird because it was very clear. And I ignored it for a minute or so, and it kept getting louder and louder. Basically, what happened was the guy saw something weird, and he started throwing bottles at it. And what I heard was, help me, in a little kid's voice. Something told me to get up out of the bed and look out the window, and I see this face. It was white, and it kind of looked oriental, but its eyes were pointy, slanted more downwards, but real close to each other. It was kind of an oval-shaped head. But I went into shock, and I don't remember anything after that. But that same night, I woke up in the living room, and there was a bright light. It was very bright. I thought it was morning time, and I see my brothers and sisters sleepwalking, which I've seen it before, but not all at the same time. They went into a little small linen closet across from my room, and they all stuffed themselves inside the linen closet, little small cabinets, all in a row. It was like 3 or 4. After I saw them when I was in the living room, down the hallway, my brother comes out and he goes back in the room where I just seem to have came from. Went back to the room, followed him, and there was a big bright light coming through the window. And ever since then, I just don't remember anything after that. But what I have been in my past life experiencing is seeing these UFOs all the time. I moved from New York City in 1985 after I graduated from school, and moved up to Manchester, New Hampshire, and I started seeing these red lights with no noise coming from them, and white lights. And I tried taking pictures of them, but I can't get a good picture because I always see them at nighttime. But then there's other episodes also that I've gone through, that I was going to visit my cousin in Manchester, and I'm walking through an open field, and there's a bright white light zooming through the air at nighttime. Wasn't making any noise, but then after the bright white light passed over my head, there was an earthquake. And they say, is it true? Is it that sometimes these UFOs follow earthquakes, or they follow tremors, or whatever it is, you see them sometimes. Is that true?
Definitely when earthquakes, thunderstorms, any kind of activity by Mother Nature on a high level, it seems that UFOs start to appear. They become... It got to a point that this is not the first time it's happened. It also happened before, early in the morning, that I was walking home from a friend's house, and there's this bright light, and till I get to my house and walking through the door, there was a tremor. I don't know. I hope I'm not attracting these things or what. But I forgot to tell you, I wouldn't be surprised. I wouldn't be surprised. Your sighting really sounds like this video coming out of Australia recently that we're sharing on Third Phase Moon. And people are seeing these things more and more, and it's interesting that it's just it's a worldwide phenomenon. That's the cool part about it. It's not a joke. This is real. Let me back it up a little bit. You
Okay.
were in close proximity to some kind of a being. I want to get more detail on this. You said he was white. He wasn't gray.
It wasn't a gray face.
Tell me what this.
It was kind of a soapy white color, and of course, it looked like an alien gray, but it seemed taller. It seemed more thinner, and it was in my face. But that same night, I forgot to tell you, that same night also, or daytime, whatever it was, there was some more. There was more little beings in the living room. That's why I was in the living room, and there was like 3 or 4 of them, but they were small, like 2 feet tall, and they were bluish green tint, but their eyes were oval and they were black. I do remember that. But the other being that I saw at the window, it had small slits. It didn't have really big eyes. It had smaller slits, and it seemed like a soapy grayish, like a soapy white color, but it wasn't like an off. It was an off-white, and it was kind of weird.
Wearing any kind of? Were they wearing any kind of attire or a uniform?
Yes, the smaller ones were wearing a black crew cut montneck type thing, and like I said, they were 2 feet tall. And when I looked at them, they all stopped and they looked at me, but it was weird because it happened. It seemed like it happened fast, but it didn't. Because if it wasn't for my brother to get out from that cabinet and walk back into the room, I think I would have been still there standing looking at them. But something told me to go to the room and into where he was at, and he was standing there facing the bed, and then this is bright light that was just coming through the window. And after that, I don't remember anything. But say 4 or 5 years ago, my sister had the same dream. She said she had the same thing that was going on with her, my younger sister. And that's when I knew it really did happen.
Oh, so it was not a dream.
It actually happened. No, it wasn't a dream.
What about
my sister?
What about your brother? Did your brother lay upon these beings? Did you guys talk about this experience?
Yes, he had, but he doesn't remember anything. He doesn't remember. Neither does my second oldest sister. She don't remember anything. Just the youngest one does. She remembers. She remembers all of it. And it was just my brother that I saw. She said she saw my sister in there, and she came out of the room also and went back into her room. But I never saw my sister come out that cabinet. It was just my brother. So I don't know what was going on, but it was an extreme, something that happened that was very extreme, and I also thought about going to some sort of person that can maybe regress and see if I can remember, because I'm afraid I might remember.
Yeah, the hypnotic regression, you might regret what you asked for in that case and open up, a can of worms, because when you're in this close proximity, it sounds like you were probably abducted, and maybe you're not aware of it, your brother's not aware of it, your sister's not well, it sounds like your sister's aware of it. Was she abducted? Did she remember any abduction?
She said she saw me and my other brother and sister, and then she saw a figure down the hallway, because she was in the other room. She saw a small figure in the hallway, and she saw me down in the living room also. And I turned around, and I headed towards that way, and then she said she saw my sister coming out of there, but she didn't see my brother. So either way, I think it was all in separate rooms, or something was not letting us communicate to each other. But I knew they were all there. I knew they were there, because it was just so fast how it happened. But then it was weird. It was just weird, because my sister remembered it. She remembered it, and I was just talking to her, fooling around, talking about ghost stories and stuff like that. But this wasn't a ghost story. This actually happened because I saw the ship hovering over the building where I was recently playing at, and it was very quiet, and it wasn't doing anything. And then after that, I don't remember going to sleep. I was kind of actually afraid. Then I lie down. Next thing you know, I heard this commotion, and there was this thing just sitting there, well, I don't know, was sitting there, standing there, or what. And after that, all I remember is going into the living room, and these things were standing right there. And
Scary.
This bright light started coming up. And it was on for a long. Actually, it was on for a while. It was on for a pretty long time, and I thought it was morning time, but it wasn't. It was nighttime. It was still nighttime.
Okay. Just hold it right there. And you're coming in a little choppy on your audio device. Maybe you could fix that up. We're going to take a quick break. We got even more callers lined up. They want to share their stories, but I got one more question for the caller, and we'll get to that. We'll be right back. Two-foot beans with soap-like milky skin and large black eyes, wearing black basic jumpsuits, and one has a large black eye and one has a kind of a slit for an eye. What are these? What are these beings that come into people's homes, their bedrooms, and pay a visit to them? Sometimes in the middle of the night, sometimes in broad daylight. What do these things want? What is their objective? Are we just guinea pigs? Do they want to really experiment with us to genetically modify us into a hybrid program? Or have they already started this? The agenda is baffling, and we need to find out. The people out there are finally waking up that this phenomenon is real, and people are coming on this show and sharing it. That's what we like. That's why we open up the lines. My last question to you, sir, is what do you have to say for anybody that has had an encounter like yours? You've had multiple encounters. What do you think they should do? Should they tell their friends? Should they speak about it at work? What's your advice?
I would tell family. I'll definitely let family know. Very good friends that would actually stop and listen to you, and actually try to help you go through the motions. They got friends that also they deal with doctors and lawyers, but I like to say that they should talk mostly to their family. That's the best thing to do. Get some information online about if it happened somewhere where you lived at, and see anybody else in that area has saw that also, or saw something. Maybe someone out there can hear me and probably know what exactly I've gone through in New York City, in the Bronx. So I probably was not the only one that might have happened in that particular area. Like I said, when all that happened, still I went into the military, and it's a totally different story. I started getting very technical since I was a child, learning how to do things, even learn how to even fix computers at a certain age. But I said I would reach out to my family. That's the best thing to do, and spread the word out. And I appreciate that you let me get on the radio station and explain myself, because there's a lot more I haven't even spoken to you about.
Well, you come on back. You give us a call, sir. And, we get a few calls from the Bronx. And I don't know what's going on over there. There's a lot of people that live in a small proximity of space over there. And they're all kind of experiencing this phenomenon together. So, keep in touch. I want to hear more of your stories. And you're welcome to come back on Third Phase Moon anytime. So let's bring in area code 267. Let's see what more kind of stories we could get into tonight. Hello, 267. You got some? How's that sound coming in? Hello, 267. 267. Sounds like he's walking with his phone in his pocket. Let's try area code 575. Let's see how this comes in. 575. Thanks for waiting. You're on Third Phase of Moon Live Radio. What's on your mind tonight? Where are you calling in from?
What's up, Blake? I'm calling in from Dami, New Mexico. I got like a 4th of July story I want to share. It happened last year.
What? Last year, 2000. Yeah, this is 4th of July. It's coming up tomorrow. So what did you see on 4th of July last year? I know there's going to be a lot of sightings because people are going to be looking up at the fireworks, but these UFOs managed to appear. So, yeah, I bet you were watching the fireworks on 4th of July, and then you saw something. What was it?
Anyways, last year we're watching the display. It was barely starting up over here in my hometown, and probably within the first, I want to say, minute when the fireworks were popping off, I want to say it was still daylight outside. It wasn't that dark yet, and me and my wife were outside. I mean, with the kids too. In the sky, we saw it was like I said, it was a UFO. It was to me to see more organic. Though it was it looked like the best what I could explain it would be was like a jellyfish kind of type. I don't even know. Like, I want to say it was like it almost looked like an entity, but then the same thing almost looked like a crab. It was clear.
What color was it? It was clear.
It was kind of like white a little bit.
I was just wondering if it would be any kind of translucent, maybe a purplish color, but that's just me. I was curious. But so, how large do you think this jellyfish-shaped thing was? What makes you think it wasn't a weather balloon or some kind of just big clear trash bag, frankly, flying up in the air under the heat wave?
I know, right? No, I mean, what kind of gave it its distinct feature was just the way it was going across the sky. I mean, it was probably no more than maybe 100 feet above, I mean, like no higher than the treetops, and it just like as soon as the fireworks started going off, this thing, it just came out of nowhere, and it was like flying, if it got startled, kind of like maybe this entity or this maybe this unknown creature just got scared from wherever it was at. And it was the way it was like flying across the sky. It was like if it was kind of shooken up from the booms, from the fireworks and stuff. And the way I could tell, we could both tell that it wasn't no trash bag is just, I mean, there's no trash bag that looks like a box, like jellyfish. To me, this sort of looked like a jellyfish, like something you see in the ocean. But, like I say, it was kind of almost transparent, but it was white, kind of, in a little way. And it even almost floated across the sky, almost like a jellyfish, kind of it would shoot, and then it would give a pause, and then it would keep going. You know what I mean? Kind of what you see the jellyfish in the ocean do, but it was in the sky though.
That's amazing because you're basically the second caller tonight that has explained their UFO sighting as basically a biological looking type of formation in the sky, a craft shaped like an animal that the first caller said it looked almost like a catfish, and that's interesting. And then Now we're into the jellyfish, but these things are supposed to be in the water, not up in the sky. I got a feeling a lot of these sightings are probably interdimensional, or if not, just biological creatures that are still an enigma to our scientists, and they refuse to study them. I'm not exactly sure, but there might be two different things up there: biological, living organisms, and then craft built by extraterrestrials, and then our own military. The skies are crowded nowadays, it seems.
Yep, that's right.
So, wow, appreciate the call. And anybody out there seen a jellyfish type of UFO? I know we've shared all kinds of strange UFO videos submitted by people from around the world that kind of resemble what the caller's exactly talking about. So this is good. This is what really boils things down to a fine degree, that we're nailing it. We're nailing the information that this enigma it's real. Okay, let's try again. 267. Are we still running in your back pocket? Oh, hey, you made it to the show. Hey, how's it going? What's up?
Good.
How you doing? All right.
Doing all right.
Oh, cool. Where are you calling in from? You walking around?
Philly. You say what?
Sounds like you're walking around.
Oh, no. This Philly.
There. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, what's going on? You seen a UFO? Or you got a question?
I've seen plenty, man. I've seen plenty.
Oh, yeah?
Plenty of them.
Let's start out.
Believe in them.
Let's just start out with the first. And you used to be a skeptic? That's good. Let's get it started.
All right, well, what's crazy is when I was younger, I used to have feelings like I was being watched or whatever. You know how everybody would say. And, like, plenty of things, like...
We just lost him. If this guy's seen plenty of UFOs, maybe they just abducted him. I don't know. Call back, man. What happened? You're just getting into it. We wanted to hear that. Okay, well, let's bring in... Let's see. Let's go to... let's try area code 623. 623 sounds like somebody's driving. Where are you driving into?
Yeah, that's right.
Oh.
That's me, Blake.
Okay,
I am driving.
Where are you going to? Area 51? You going to go through the gate?
I'm in Chicago right now.
Okay.
My name is
Welcome
George.
to the show.
I called last... Go ahead.
Go ahead. Yeah, welcome to the show. I called last year. Yep.
Called last year about, and I shared my abduction experience, and I wanted to call back. I went through regression therapy, and I had some more recall. I did not get total recall, but I did get some more recall, and I wanted to share it. My experience began back... Pardon me?
Yeah, it's cool. We're on a road trip right now, and you're going to tell us about some recall. This is kind of exciting.
Right.
Let's join the journey. This is Third Phase Moon Radio, and that's what it's all about, a journey together. Let's hear it.
Yeah, well, it started when I was back at preschool in 1965 in Santa Ana, California. Right off Westminster and Harbor Boulevard there's a small little side street called Linnell. That's where I lived. Back in 1965, I used to play in my mother's backyard, and there was a craft that used to hide in the clouds above my mother's house, and it would poke out. And I recall seeing the beings. They would come out from the cloud, and they would watch me while I was playing in the backyard, and I could see the aliens inside the windows looking down at me. I have a recall of them taking me into the craft, and I remember seeing my mother up there. They had her on a table, and they were doing something around her womb area. They were working on her, and I remember seeing her, and I remember them taking me and putting me in a room with other little children. There were other little children there, and they wanted me to interact with these children. They were watching us to see what we were going to do or what we were doing. And all of my recall, Blake, is just they're flashes, they're flashback memories. I never got total recall, but I
Sure.
do have a lot of flashback memories.
What
One
about,
thing I wanted to tell your viewers
okay, go ahead.
is that this experience was real. I've lived with it all my life, but after the regression therapy, I'm absolutely certain that this was real. It wasn't a dream, it wasn't hallucination, it wasn't any medications that the doctor gave me. It was real. You can look at Rex Heflin photographs, 1965 in Santa Ana. Rex Heflin happened to be out there working, and he got a picture of that same flying saucer, the same craft that abducted me. Now, Rex Heflin never made any money off of it. He just died recently. He never received any real publicity from it, but he did but he did distribute the pictures to family and friends who distributed it around. Now you can go and you can look at the Rex Heflin photographs and you can see the exact flying saucer or flying craft that was hovering over my mother's backyard. Now I can recall this is very interesting to me, because after the regression therapy, I recall them taking me up in the craft and out into outer space. Now, the reason I'm certain that it was outer space is because of the sensation that I had when we left the Earth's gravity. And that's what I wanted to talk about, was the sensation was so strange, it was so unusual, Blake. It's the weightlessness is very, very strange. Your muscles come up off of your bones. The weight of your muscles come up off of your bones. You're totally weightless. You have no weight at all. And I remember going up there and starting to float. My muscles came up and my body came up off the floor of the craft, and I couldn't counterbalance myself like with my legs. Like, here you can, if you start to lean or you start to stumble, you can counterbalance your weight with your arms and with your legs. But in weightlessness, you can't do that. There is no counterbalancing. And I remember trying to counterbalance myself up there, and was unable because it was totally weightless. It was the strangest sensation. And
yeah, that's interesting too. It's interesting because we've heard of people being abducted and taken aboard the alien craft, but being in outer space and being in a weightless environment, now that's I don't hear that very often. But I want to back it up just a bit, because you were saying that you could see your mom on the table within the alien craft. Did you ever talk about this with your mother? What did she have to say about this?
When I was younger, her and I did talk about it, but it was surreal. We weren't really certain if it was really happening. She used to ask me if I had seen the little men in the house that night, and she would tell me. She said, I saw little men walking around in the house last night. She said, and when they saw me, she said they would hide. They were hiding behind the TV. One was hiding behind the TV, and one was hiding behind the fish tank. And she would ask me if I saw them. I said, yeah, I saw them. They were in my room. And I remember the ones in my room were these little blue, like doctors. They were blue. I can't see their faces, though. Now, the aliens, the graves, I can see them, but it's still blurry. But the little blue doctors, I can't get a fix on just exactly what they look like. What I do remember reaching out and touching one, and he was near, he was close enough to me, and I reached out and I touched him with my finger. And he asked me, "Why did you touch me?" Yeah.
Let me ask you this, and we'll get to what he told you or the being told you. Some people are saying that you may be a hybrid yourself, since your mother was possibly abducted. What do you think about that? Have you ever contemplated that maybe you're an alien hybrid?
Not myself, but I wonder about my father. I'll tell you that. My father was up there also.
What makes you say that?
Yeah.
Well,
I remember one. I remember how he used to be. He was a real family man. He had a really joyful personality. He was really an amazing guy. And one night he came home from work, and it was a different guy. I remember looking at him thinking, that this isn't my dad. This isn't my dad. I don't know who this guy is. He kind of looks like my dad, but it's not him. It's not him. And I remember that from when I was a child. And he never did come back. I wondered about that. I started thinking about that maybe he was. I don't know. Maybe he was cloned. I don't know. Something happened. What I do know is that something happened that night. And a different man came home, and I never saw my dad again. But myself,
well, you know what? It's not. It's an amazing ride, and we'd love to be on this road trip with you. But there is a little sound issue. Are you on the job, or what? What are you?
Yeah, actually, I'm a trucker.
Go ahead.
And I'm rolling down I-94 right now in Chicago.
Wow. So you're doing it right now, and you're calling into Third Phase of Moon Live. What kind of rig are you driving around? 16-wheeler?
18-wheeler.
Wow, that's insane, and you're calling in a Third Phase of Moon. That's amazing. Well, why don't you do this, sir? I want to get more of your story into Third Phase of Moon. Why don't you give us a call on Friday? We're going to be broadcasting live, and I want to get into more of your experiences, sir. So can you do that? You try to stay.
I can do that. Can I say one more thing?
Yeah, absolutely. Go for it.
There's a mothership out there, and there's a lot of other alien craft up there too, and there's a lot of aliens up there too, and there's a lot of people that are inside that craft that have been abducted. That was part of the recall. I remember the craft is huge. It is very, very huge. And it's up there. And it's real.
Well, you know what? This is it was my pleasure talking with you tonight, and everybody who called in. You drive safe. 18-wheeler. He's hauling ass out there. Chicago, calling into Third Phase Moon, telling us about his abduction experiences, his mother in the craft. He's been into outer space. It doesn't get much better than this when we open up our lines, taking your calls from around the world. And we're going to be doing it again this Friday night. So join me. We're going to be doing it again. And make sure to join us on Third Phase of Moon YouTube channel for more updates. And everybody, have a safe 4th of July. Get those cameras out. The fireworks will be plentiful, but there will be a lot of UFO sightings out there, and I'm looking forward to sharing them with you on the 4th. So we'll see you real soon, everybody. Stay safe.
right.